Hello. Oh, there we go. Good morning. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, everybody. Morning. How's everybody doing? Everybody over there in the information area, whatever we're going to call that, orientation, come on over, get a seat. We're going to start in just a moment. Thank you all for being here on this getting colder day and colder tomorrow. But we will start with, I'm going to introduce Deb Sorensen. She's our lead volunteer that puts everything together.
Good morning, everybody. I want to thank all of you for coming. We have a full house today. What we're going to be doing is I will introduce the mayor, who is John Flynn, Tom Judson, who's the COO of the POA, and we have Selena Lee, who's with the ACC. Each one of those individuals is going to be talking a little bit about their organization. We will then ask questions and answers, so if you can hold your questions until they're done, that would be great. We do have, does everybody have a little ticket? We do have a raffle with some books that we're going to be giving away. And at the end of this meeting, we'll also have the other group over here. They're going to still be here, so you can commingle and what have you. If anybody wants to stick around for lunch, we generally have a few people that do, and the restaurant opens at 11. If you haven't eaten here, it's been great. And lastly, I'll give you just a real brief history at the very end of Bella Vista, because we are a very interesting city. First of all, I'm going to turn this over to Tom Judson.
I get that same reception when I walk in the house. Not. Okay, we're going to start with this sheet. It says the city, the POA, and the ACC. So we're a different community, and different isn't bad. It's just different. So we call it the three-legged stool. And we divide up our responsibilities amongst our three organizations. So the first one is the city of Bella Vista. And the city is primarily in charge of the police, fire, roads, building permits, and a lot of other things I'm sure I'm missing. And we have Mayor Flynn here, plus I think we have 3 representatives of our city council here. I saw them. There's 1, 2, and Larry Wilms was here also. So make sure you introduce yourself to them and say hi. They're your elected officials. And it's important that you get to know them. So that's the city. So that's one leg of the stool. And then we have Selena, and I always do a horrible job describing what she does. But she's in charge of the ACC, and she's going to make sure that everything to do with your home flows with her overall neighborhood and so forth. And she'll describe it in much better description in a little bit. The last leg of the stool is the POA, and I'm the CEO of the POA. And we're the fun department, okay? We're the golf courses, the lakes, all that stuff. So we really enjoy that. So each of us is going to talk about our respective leg and of the stool. And at the end, when you have questions, since all 3 of us are here, you can one of us can step up and address the question based upon what it is, okay? And we usually always hang out afterwards. So if you have a personal questions that you want to ask, no problem. Also, this area, the information area, that's going to stay open after it, so you can go there, and then the restaurant will open afterwards. I also want to recognize all our volunteers, except for Ann. No, we're not going to recognize Ann. They do a great job. They're always very helpful, and you can ask them questions. They're just awesome. So this whole event is a volunteer run, and that's what makes Bella Vista so special, is the number of volunteers that are involved in our community. All right, we're now going to move on to this sheet. Okay, this is the amenities sheet, and you're going to open it up on the inside. And we're going to talk about the different amenities in Bella Vista. And we created this sheet, and we go over this sheet because it's always a little bit challenging and frustrating to me when I'll talk to someone and they'll say, "Oh, I didn't know that there was a gym facility over at Branchwood." And I go, "Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah." And I go, "How long you lived in Bella Vista?" 20 years. So that's not a good thing. So we want to talk, we have so much to offer, and we want to make sure you're aware of all the different things that we have. So we're going to go on the far left side, which is the west side, and that's the gun range. So we have pistol, rifle, and then we have skeet and trap. Now, the pistol and rifle range is currently under construction, and we're anticipating it's going to reopen in the middle of February, as long as the weather cooperates. So we're getting really close. Our marketing team just put out a video to show you the progress. I think it's gone out or will be going out. It has gone out. So you can see the progress. We're really doing a great job out there and completely renovating that amenity. Also, we have the skeet and trap range out there. The skeet and trap range remains open even though the pistol and rifle are closed. Okay? Also, we're going to go up to Highlands, which is a little bit north of that or up. Highlands is one of our golf courses, 18-hole golf course. We also have a pizza parlor there or a pizza restaurant there and a nice bar that you can hang out. It's a great place to get a beer on the patio, maybe not today, but it's a nice place to sit outside out at that location. That golf course also, come May, we're going to shut it down for about 4 or 5 months, and we're going to be doing a sod to sprig, and we're going to convert it from common Bermuda to zoysia. Common Bermuda is just basically a weed, and it's not very good playing surface, so we're going to be converting over to zoysia. So that's going to be an interesting improvement to that facility. All right, we're next going to go over and we're going to hit Branchwood. Branchwood is one of our hubs of activity. We have a large fitness center there, our only indoor pool at that location. We have multiple pickleball courts there. We have a 1.5-mile walking trail, and we also have a disc golf course at that same location. So just a hub of activity, a lot of fitness, group fitness classes going on there, and so a lot of stuff that you might be interested in participating in. All right, next we're going to move over where it says Lake Point. Lake Point is kind of our marquee restaurant. It overlooks the water. It's just a beautiful setting, great bar location. Also, in season, we have the marina there. And you can, we have a little shop there. You can buy all your fishing needs. It's kind of a fish shop, a little bit of a light fish shop. If you really need to get stuff for fishing, you want to go to Cabela's. But if you have immediate need, you're on the lake or something like that, you can go to the marina and get some supplies. You can also rent boats, very affordable. You can rent kayaks and sup boards, stand-up paddle boards. So all in that location. Also, at that park that is near the dam, at the foot of the dam, is where our dog park is. We have a dog park there. We have a 0.6-mile walking trail there, and also the trail goes to the top of the dam. So to me, that's a really beautiful location in Bella Vista. You walk to the top of the dam, you can see the lake, Loch Lomond on one side, and you can see Scottsdale Golf Course on the other side, run one location. It's just fantastic up there. But it's a little bit of a hill that you got to go up. So my wife and I will take our dogs up there, and it's a lot of fun. All right, Scottsdale Golf Course, 18-hole golf course. Also, we have a small bar and a nice patio. My wife and I will go out there. We won't necessarily play golf. We'll go on the patio because it overlooks the pond and the 18th green, so it's a really nice place to have an enjoyable beverage. All right, the beach on Lake Avalon. It is a seasonal beach, but it is outstanding for all the kids. Kids, grandkids, doesn't matter. We have a roped-in area where the kids can play and swim with safety without boats getting in the way. They have this little floating dock area that the kids can swim out to and jump in the water. We have the sandy beach, We have umbrellas. We have a little snack hut that sells every form of sugar to wind those kids up. It's going to be ice cream, candy bars. We're going to go all out and then hand them back to you. And we also have a nice pavilion there, and there is a play set that it's like a zip line play set, and I have personally weight tested the zip line. So it's safe. We're good. The kids are going to be safe. We also rent kayaks and supboards there. So it is a great location, and also the trail goes through that area. So there's a really neat place, and you can launch your boat there. So another hub of activity. You're going to hear that over and over again when I talk, a hub of activity. We bring a lot of amenities together. Hub of activity makes it a lot easier. Okay, we're going to move over to the country club, this building. So this building is an Ife Jones designed building. Ife Jones was a protege of Frank Lloyd Wright. This building is on the National Registry. And Ife Jones was the founder of the University of Arkansas School of Architecture. So anytime we have architects come into this building, which is every once in a while, they're always like this, looking up and looking at the architecture, and they're really enjoying it and looking at the beauty of this building. So it's something we're really proud of. Our largest pro shop is over here, award-winning pro shop. So if you need any of your golf needs or gifts, that's where you want to go. Our 18-hole golf course, the country club, fantastic. And then BV Bar and Grill, great place to hang out and have fun and watch the game. And this is also where our administrative offices are. If this is where my office is, the marketing and so forth. And also, if you go up the stairs here and go down to the right, that's where our boardroom is. So the POA Board of Directors, if you want to come and attend those meetings and have questions for the Board of Directors, you're more than welcome to come to those. The schedule of those meetings is on our website. Okay, so that's where you can find that. All right, let's go to Tanyard Creek. Tanyard Creek Nature Trail. If you have family in town and you can only go on one hike and you only have an hour or so, go to Tanyard Creek Nature Trail. Outstanding, beautiful. And what's really neat about this trail is you can make it as long or as short as you want. If you just want to take a really quick trip to the waterfall and come back, outstanding. Or if you wanted to do the whole loop and go across the swinging bridge, that's outstanding. You know, it gives you a choice of what you want to do. Also at Tanyard Creek, we have our largest driving range, our practice center. The practice center is currently slated to reopen from a major renovation. It'll reopen the 1st of February. Between our 3 driving ranges, we have a driving range at Scottsdale, Highlands. Both of those are kind of small, and then we have our largest at Tanyard Creek. We do about 85,000 buckets of balls a year. So very, very busy. You can get lessons there. Hannah is outstanding, and a bunch of other pros down there teach. We're also going to have an indoor simulator, so you can actually play during the middle of winter or at night. That kind of, if you've been watching I can't remember what, TLC or whatever it's called, kind of fun stuff. We used it for an employee party and just had a great time. Think of going that. So about the 1st of February, but I always like to hedge my bet is, if something happens that's beyond our control, it may delay it, but we're heading in that direction. All right, we're going to go straight south to Kingsdale. Another hub of activity. We have the BVRC. That is our largest fitness facility, recreational. It's more like a community center, large fitness facility. You can get a key fob, and you can access the gym facility at any time. So if you want to go work out at 2 o'clock in the morning, go for it. Go for it. But what it really works out is we have limited hours on Sundays. So if you want to go work out at 4 o'clock in the afternoon on a Sunday, get one of those key fobs. What we charge is what the fob, we charge you the cost of the fob. We're not making money off of you, but you can go in and you can use it. Also, it's really amazing. We have these snowstorms, and the roads are, the city is still working on the roads, and people will be at the gym at 6 a.m. Why isn't it open? So now you have a fob. You can get in. I wouldn't do it, but I don't know. Okay, also at that location, we have our tennis center. Kelly, our head pro, is awesome. And then we have Kingsdale Pro Shop. We have an 18-hole golf course there and a 9-hole golf course. And also we have BV65. It's our barbecue place. So try out that location. A lot of fun going on over there. Music bingo. There we go. There we go. I didn't introduce Sydney. Sydney is our queen of activities. So she's in charge of music bingo and karaoke nights and all the other fun stuff. She does that. If you're coming from a community that had something really fun that you used to go to, talk to her. She'll be here after the meeting, and she'll put that in her head and think about maybe implementing it here. All right, let's go all the way to the far right or the east side, and that is Metfield. Okay, another hub of activity. We have the park there. We have the skills park, which is for kids, and it's actually the start of the Razorback Greenway, 10-foot wide concrete path dedicated to walking and mountain biking, or any kind of biking. You can start at that path, and you can go on a 10-foot wide concrete path all the way south to Fayetteville, over 40 miles. It is outstanding. It's outstanding. I've actually done the entire route. It's just a beautiful, so it's fantastic that it starts in our neighborhood. It starts at Metfield Park. Also, we have one of our outdoor pools at that location. We have more pickleball courts at that location. And then at the golf course, we have an 18-hole golf course, a 9-hole golf course, and then one of our small fitness centers. It's pretty small. It meets our needs, but at some point we're going to have to upgrade because it's so small. At that location, we also have one of our 2 member resources locations. So if you need to pay your water bill or you need to get an activity card or something like that, you want to go to member resources. They're going to be able to help you out. Keep in mind, they're so awesome and they're so helpful. We receive about 40,000 calls a year at member resources, and half of them don't have to do with the POA. But we help you out, and we're going to give you the information to get you going in the right direction. So they're really a good team down there. And then go south, and you're going to see the Gear Garden and Blowing Springs. Blowing Springs is our RV camping area. We have 64 slips for RV. We have the Gear Garden, which is seasonal. It is our version of a beer garden. It's outstanding. It's under the tree canopy during the summertime. It's always about 10 degrees cooler under the shade, and the beer helps too. And it's right next to the trail. We also have tiny cabins that you can rent and get the camping experience, but not being outside on the ground. But you can also do primitive camping, which is sleeping on the ground, which I've never understood, but that's okay. That's just me. If you're into that, I'm proud of you. But you might have to get an exam. That's what we call is the gateway to our trails. We have about 110 miles of soft surface trails. We are just so fortunate with the Walton Family Foundation, the Trailblazers, and the number of trails that they've put in. It's just really fortunate. Great for mountain biking, great for hiking. Allison and I will take the dogs on the walk on the trails a lot. If you're looking for a great place for a nice, reasonable hike, I go to Tweety Bird. It's in about the center of our community. You'll have to look it up online. Tweety Bird is about a 2-mile loop. It's reasonably flat. And after you park, you go in there, you maybe see 1 or 2 homes, maybe more during the wintertime. Another great trail. It's kind of you're just out in nature. It's just a beautiful setup. Okay, last thing I'm going to talk about is the activity card. If you have not yet got an activity card, make sure you get one. It costs you $30 annually. Okay? And with that $30 annually, you're going to get unlimited use of our gym facilities. So all 3 gym facilities, our pools, our beach, Free green fees at Brittany Golf Course, the 9-hole golf course on the east side. Free range balls, as many balls as you can possibly hit, and hopefully your handicap will be curious. Free entrance to our gun range, and then 10% off your food purchases at any of the POA run restaurants. So pizza here, Lake Point, or BV65, you're going to get 10% off of that, all for $30. If 2 people in the household each get an activity card, up to 5 kids in the same household, as long as they're under the age of 18, can get it for free. So we want to make sure the families are getting it, getting the activity cards, taking the kids to the pools, taking it to the beach, and really enjoying our amenities. We have so much to offer, and so we want to make sure you enjoy it. All right, I'm going to turn it over to the mayor, and then we'll have questions at the end. All right, here you go.
Thank you, Tom. Great job as usual. I want to tell you just a little bit about the city side of Bella Vista. The city's over fire and ambulance, police, streets, planning and development, the building process, library, garbage pickup, and intergovernmental relations. There's a lot of things, particularly on the regional side. There's regional organizations in Northwest Arkansas that do quite a bit. So one thing I want to mention right away is about the website. It's bellavistaar.gov, and POA also has a really good website. You could learn just a ton of things just by looking at those 2 websites. They've been built up over the years. Second thing I want to mention, to make sure I don't forget it, we have a new city app. It's City of Bella Vista, and there's cards up here on the table, so you can scan this, and that will tell you notifications, things like that. There's a bunch of different categories. We used to use a texting type service, and we just started this app literally about the first of the year. So it's brand new, and we've had people signing up on it in droves, so that's a great thing. I want to go over a little bit some of our buildings. We have a new public safety building. I was thinking this morning, I wonder how long I'm allowed to call that new. It actually opened almost 2 years ago. It's over on Forest Hills Boulevard, and if you go up Lancashire and hang a left on Forest Hills, it's down there on the left-hand side. It's brand new. We're really proud of it. It's the nicest building the city's ever had by a huge margin. And I predict we won't build another building that nice in the next 30 years, that large or that nice. But it has the police and the dispatch and the courts in there, the courtroom. And significance of that is that the Planning Commission meets there, City Council meets there, so that's where you'd want to go if you want to see any of those things. And I want to give a shout out to our community TV, who's filming this. They're filming this event, and they film our Planning Commission and our City Council meetings. So, you know, you can go to the meetings, and that would be great. We love to have people come. But if you think, hey, I'm busy or don't want to get out, then you can watch it later on YouTube or Roku or things like that. And it's a good way to keep up with what's going on. So we have that new public safety building. We have a new fire training tower, and that is, if you go north on 71, it's on the left-hand side on Carlisle Drive, and that was just completed within the last year. Then we have a new fire station number 3 on Glasgow Road near Branchwood. And the reason I mentioned those 3 things is they were all financed with our 1% city sales tax. We passed a bond in 2020, and it was the first bond the city had ever had. We've just been a city since 2007. And it was a 1% sales tax, and we really kind of hit the sweet spot. We did most of the construction before the big inflation hit, and we had perfect timing on the interest rate. It was 1.1%. That was the interest rate on our bond. And it was supposed to be a 20-year bond, and right now it's scheduled to be paid off in October 2027. So it's being paid off really fast. So, and that's all driven on our sales tax being better than people expected. So we feel really good about all of that. The other buildings we have, the street department is right next to the public safety building. It's about 5 years old. And some of you may be familiar down on at the corner of 71 and Lancashire. We're building some new construction. We're going to have a city hall, fire station offices, planning and development, and fire station number 1. All those things are at that location right now, but you can see there's a little construction going on. City hall and the fire department management is going to be in that new construction. And we're fixing up the old city hall, which is right there for the planning and development folks. So everything's all in one place there. That's where you go if you want to get a permit for anything. And I think that's going to be great. I know the employees really like it. I was really impressed when I became mayor a couple of years ago. The city hall employees and the planning and development employees all wanted to be together. And I thought that was a really good sign that, you know, people felt that way. And it really is much more efficient. So the city hall part and the fire station offices should be done June 2025 into June. Then we're going to fix up the offices for the planning and development. And we're also going to put 2 more bays in there. So there'll be 5 bays for the fire department. And the 2 new ones will be longer and taller, because that's the way they're making them nowadays. And also they'll be able to drive around back and drive straight in with the fire trucks. Right now they have to back in, and most new fire stations you can drive straight in. So we're making it like a new fire station. I wanted to mention a few things also that are new for 2025. Well, first thing is yesterday, I think it was, maybe 2 days ago, we got what they call a Trendsetter City Award. That was down at Municipal League in Little Rock. And we're in the largest population category. So we compete against Springdale and Bentonville and Fayetteville and Little Rock, which are bigger and have more money than us. So it's a little daunting. But anyway, we got first place for Trendsetter City. And the subject matter of it has to do with the street department. And we have something called the asphalt zipper. And what it does is when you have a bad place in the road, it comes and chews up the old asphalt, and then you're able to use it for the base and put the new paving over it. So it saves money and also saves time and labor. And it's kind of innovative. A lot of cities don't have that, but we studied it, found some cities that had it. It seemed to be a really good success. So we felt good about that. And, you know, really all the credit goes to the street department. But as mayor, I have the tough job of having to go to places and get awards and take credit for things. So it's just one of the many sacrifices you have to make. Somebody has to do it. So one thing interesting is we have a new city council. We have, there's 6 people on city council, and they have an election for 3 positions, and then 2 years later, we have an election for the other 3 positions. And we did have 3 of the 6 come to the meeting today, which is unusually good. But we have a city council. We have 3 new council members, and it's the youngest city council in the history of Bella Vista by a huge margin. It's not even close. They're all in their 30s and 40s. And the entire council, there's 6 people on council, and they have a total of 10 years city experience. So it's also the most inexperienced council we've ever had. But they're young and enthused, and I'm very enthused about them. And we all got, when you go to municipal league, it's just a couple times a year, and there's seminars and whatnot, which was perfect timing. So they were able to go to the seminars before their first meeting. First meeting is next Tuesday. And you get to spend a little time with them, get to know them a little better. So it's a really watershed time in Bella Vista, because we have Blue Crane, which is a Walton-related entity coming in and, interested in development in Bella Vista. Now we have this new young council that's very enthused, has a lot of ideas, and so you can really feel that we're at a watershed moment here, and it's kind of exciting for all concerned. The other thing that's happening this spring is we've been working on a development code and zoning reform, and that's going to be done in the spring, and that was very badly needed. If you make your code more consistent, more understandable, and the process is better, then it's encouraging for people who are building or developing. We've had quite a brisk development situation. Last year we had over 600 new housing permits, which for us is a lot, because it's not a big development. It's basically all one-offs, and we're kind of the home of the small entrepreneur, because we have a lot of independent builders, smaller builders. It's not these big conglomerates that build whole developments. So and I think that's one of the nice things about Bella Vista is you don't have I used to live in big cities, and you'd have a whole development where all the houses looked alike, and you go to visit somebody, it's hard to find their house because the whole development, every house is alike. It's kind of neat the way we're basically a whole city of custom homes, what it amounts to. So I think that's kind of a neat feature. So in 2025, Blue Crane's going to be making an announcement soon about some of their ideas. I think people are looking forward to that. And upcoming events, we have something called Winter Fest on Saturday, February 1. It's at the Rec, which is one of the POA facilities Tom referred to, and it's mostly for younger kids. And it's trying to give them something to do in the middle of winter, when the weather's so cold. So it's all indoors. And so that's one of the big things coming up. I did want to mention, we have a lady here, Jean Galloway, and we have a community paramedic program connected with the fire department. And what that is they'll meet with you, come to your home, and analyze it from a safety point of view, to try to make sure it's fire safe, and also things you can do to prevent tripping and falling and things like that. So, and there's no charge for any of that. If you're interested in that sort of thing, you can get with Jean after the meeting. She could give you some more details about that. So some of the things we're looking at for the future, we'd like to increase the number of houses on sewer. We have about 3,900 on sewer now, and we'd like to probably 13,000 on septic. So we're trying to make some headway on getting more on sewer. We like to increase the paved roads. More and more we're having people build on roads that aren't paved. So we'd like to enhance that. We're trying to get some grants to help with that. And we like to increase the connectivity for biking and walking, particularly on the busier roads, to have some kind of pathway on the side of the road for bikes or pedestrians to make it safer. I'm talking about, you probably know, some of you know the roads I'm talking about, the connector streets, can be pretty busy for a bike. We wouldn't be able to do every little side street, but it'd be nice if we could get that accomplished on the main roads. So that's kind of some of the things we're thinking of going forward. And, we have growth. We're trying to control the growth and keep our good atmosphere. And POA is certainly helping us with that. And we feel really good about the future. And welcome you all here. We're glad to have you. Thank you. I'd like to introduce Selena Lee with the ACC.
Good morning, everybody. John said, I'm Selena with the ACC office. So I became the administrator a little over a couple years ago. I've been with them for on and off for 20 years. But when Tom invited me to come talk at this, I kind of liked his speech and where he was going, but you know, he says that they're the pretty leg. And I sat here that first time and it kind of made me feel bad because I didn't want to stand up here and say on the ACC we're the parent leg. We enforce the rules. So I got with a really good friend that we all have in common with, AI, and had them help me write up a different speech that was more positive than just me coming up here and saying, hey, we have a lot of rules, you got to comply, if you don't, that kind of thing. So we'll see how this goes. So instead of being the parent leg or anything, I was thinking we are more of the guardians of good taste, the protectors of pretty, the defenders of natural beauty. So in other words, we are the aesthetic avengers. So with that, we are on a quest to keep our community looking fabulous, one facet at a time. You know, being the guardians of good taste and the defenders of design, we advocate for aesthetics, ensuring that every home is a stunning example of good taste and thoughtful design. We're not the architectural police, but rather the aesthetic aficionados who care deeply about preserving the natural beauty of Bella Vista. We do believe in a well-manicured yard or a beautiful front door, and thoroughly designed roof line, but not as a nice to have, but we feel like it's a must-have for Bella Vista. That's what makes Bella Vista. We do pride ourselves on our goal being having balanced individuality of the community harmony, ensuring that every property owner can enjoy their dream home while also continuing to contributing to the overall awesomeness of our neighborhoods. We're not the color police, sort of. And we're not just about rules and regulations. We are passionate about what we do, and we strive to maintain to keep our property values here. But most importantly, our office, we're here to help. We really and truly are. And we want to create a community that is as lovely as it is livable, which the city is and the POA are making it very livable with everything that they do. Even though it's rumored otherwise, we promise to work with homeowners like yourselves. I know that's out there that we don't work with you, but we do. Our homeowners, our builders, our designers, as much as possible to provide the guidance and the support that you need to keep this community the way it is and make it better. And maybe we add a few suggestions here and there of what you might want to do. But the goal is making the rules and regulations and the process easier to understand. Besides, regulations are our love language. But seriously, we do want every home in Bella Vista to be a stunning reflection of our community's values. The ACC is a team of passionate, eagle-eyed, design-loving superheroes who can spot a rogue roof color a mile away. Bruce is good at that, let me tell you. So when you're talking with your neighbors and your friends about doing a project, and one of them might say, well, you should go talk to the ACC first. You probably should. You know, I get that. But as much as it may still seem like it's easier to ask for forgiveness, it's actually cheaper to ask for permission. But no, seriously, we would rather you come by the office, give us a call, and let us guide you and talk with you about what you want to do, maybe even nudge you into some other areas. But we want to help you maintain the beauty of this community that's the envy of all others. Or we'll just be the parent company, or the parent, you know, whatever. So, But yes, we do have a lot of information at our office about your property as well. So if you're bought a new home or an older home, come by. We will provide you with what we can and probably more than you need to know. My staff is very talkable, so be prepared. But no, we do really and truly want to visit with you and provide you the information you need for your projects, your home, whatever it may be. Even if it's not us, we will direct you in the right place. So I'm going to turn this back over to Deb, I think.
Is that great? Good job. Before we get going, where is Shelley? There we go. Okay, so Shelley is here, and she is in charge of our member resources department. So if you have any questions about assessment, your water bill, activity cards, memberships, everything, she's going to be here after the meeting, so you can ask her directly your questions, okay? So ask your questions, and one of the three of us will address them.
I've been here about 3 weeks, and I learned, I live on the Pea Ridge side of Bella Vista, and I learned that Pea Ridge is trying to, if I had children, they would be going to Pea Ridge High School. And I learned that they're trying to incorporate part of the community that does go to the Pea Ridge schools into their community. Well, I want to live in Bella Vista, so I'm wondering how that's going to affect me if that happens. Am I going to be rejected by Bella Vista?
So your home is in Bella Vista? Okay. Your home. Okay. So, do you want to answer school? I'm not school district. I can't answer that question.
That's the first I've heard of that. I think it would be a challenge legally for them to annex part of Bella Vista. Oh, her question was, she lives over on the Far East Side. I think she said in Bella Vista School District, or Pea Ridge School District, excuse me, but lives in Bella Vista. And she'd heard a rumor that Pea Ridge wanted to annex perhaps a neighborhood or part of the area that's in Bella Vista. And my answer was, I thought that would be difficult to accomplish legally, and it was the first I'd heard of it. So.
Also, from a POA point of view, the POA is not limited by borders. So the POA and the city, their borders match about 90% of the time, but not 100%. There's portions of the city that, or there's areas that are city but not POA. So think of some of the little, in the center of Bella Vista, there's some farmland. That's going to be city, but it's not going to be POA. And then there's other sections that are POA, like Bella Vista Heights, which is above Cooper School. That's POA, but it's not city. So like I said, we're about 95%. But if the borders changed, that wouldn't necessarily change the POA. Okay. Tough question. So that's another really easy question. This is a really complicated question. So Blue Crane purchased the declarative rights, which go back to the original declaration that goes. It was created in 1965. That one document actually created three entities. It created the POA, it created the ACC, and it created the Townhouse Association. So one document, and we have that document on the POA website. They have, Blue Crane would have the right to add additional parcels to the POA, and say these are now part of and this is not including the city. This has nothing. It may be city the home or the lot may be in the city, but it's not really to do with the city. So they can add additional. From what I've heard is they're not getting into the home development business. But you are hitting on a very valid issue. Is with our growth, we need to look at the amount of amenities that we have and what we offer, and do we have to add more? An example is not more than 5 years ago, we had 3 pickleball courts. Now we have 10, and we need a bunch more because the interest in that area. I referenced during my talk, we're gonna have to expand the Metfield Fitness Center. It's too small. Those types of things. So we're gonna have to continue to stay up to date and add more to carry the load of additional population. But I wouldn't, that's more of our growth and less Blue Crane. All right? Outstanding. If you have an activity card, the range balls are free. Good price, huh? Yeah. As many as can hit.
Will the Highlands Range continue to be open, although the country club, the Highlands Golf Course will be closed?
Yes, that's going to stay open. The driving range will stay open while we're doing the Zoysia work out there. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I thought it would be a good idea to have a charter school, and I was working to get one on the near west side, and I've found interest from parents, and I've found that it's a little more of a challenge than you might think, so I'm still working on it. So basically, I talked to the charter schools that are in this area already, and I've met with some people from Florida. For some reason, there's a lot of charter schools that are headquartered in Florida. In fact, one I met with is the largest charter school in the country. And so I think we'd like to get that done, but it's an ongoing challenge.
Outstanding, the animal shelter.
Bella Vista Police Department has a whole list of snakes that are native to the area and stating whether they're poisonous or not and whether they're aquatic. So yes, you can absolutely have that list. Give a reach out to the non-emergency number of the Bella Vista Police Department, and I can give you that number if you need it. And they'll be happy to give you a whole write-up about all the snakes in the area. And about every 8 weeks, it'll be posted on a Facebook page.
That was awesome. I had no idea about that. I don't debate with snakes. I just go away. They're not that. I think in 9 years I've seen one snake. I don't see a lot of them. So, questions?
Way in the back.
Yeah. Well, yes. No. She's asked about the new bike park. There's been a lot of rumors, and I don't think it'd be appropriate for me to comment. I think that that's a Blue Crane endeavor, and that's their job. Yes. Anybody heard of the Trafalgar Fire? Back in the day, the POA had a few leaf locations. We called them stump dumps. One of those stump dumps back in 2018 caught fire, created a subterranean fire. The POA ended up putting the fire out in 2019. There was a bunch of legal fun stuff, it was no easy undertaking, and it cost us $4 million to put out that fire. So, when it comes to the POA, we're not getting into the leaf, the tree, the stump, the branch business pretty much ever again. But I'll turn over to the mayor. He's going to love on, you guys are like really easy questions today.
That is what I would call a frequently asked question. I do want to give a shout out to Tom because the state had it out at the time of the stump dump fire, which really was tough for people who lived around there. The state had an outside consultant come, and they said it would cost $37 million to cure this problem, and he cured it for $4 million. So where I come from, that's pretty good. But I thought he never got enough credit for that, so I thought I'd mention it here. Anyway, going forward, we have studied this problem and looked at different alternatives. And I guess you could say we still are looking at different, some kind of a mulching situation, or looked at what some other cities have done, and it is a big challenge. The best answer right now is that the Republic Services, the garbage folks, have a deal where you can get a container, and I think it goes for, well, I'm sure it goes for 8 months, and I believe it costs $120. And a lot of people say that's not big enough, but it's it can take a fair amount if you're putting stuff in there every week. So that's the best answer we have. The fire chief does allow you, assuming it's not a time of a burn ban, it's possible to burn leaves. I personally am not a huge fan of that, but it is a possible way to dispose of it. But it is a big challenge for Bella Vista for sure. And, it's something we've looked at. It's hard to find a solution that doesn't cost the city more than $1 million a year, basically. If so far, it's impossible to find a solution that doesn't cost more than that. So, it's something we're still looking at. It is a challenge, and it's a good question, frankly.
The POA looked into creating, this was about 3 years ago, we looked into creating instead of a stump dump, we were going to look at a leaf dump, lighter stuff and everything. And we did research with the Arkansas Department of Environmental Quality to see what their regulations were, and we determined that was going to cost over $500,000 to create such a facility because of all their requirements. And we were like, nah, we spent $4 million on putting the fire out. We're not going to go down that route. So, not a great answer, but but be wise. Don't put it into the lake. Be careful if you put it into the ravine. If you're next to a ravine, that can create a fire hazard. So just be careful. Another question? Yes. So, a lot of those, the trees that are down are on private property, and they have every right to do what they want. When it comes to common property, the best explanation I go with is we don't manicure the forest. So we're not going to go in with the, we have about 36,000 acres of POA common property, so it's just not practical or reasonable to remove those. And you see them in October, November, December when the leaves go down. You go, oh my God, look at all those trees that came down. And so, that's just another situation. Not a great answer. Just if you go onto the fire website, I think one of the recommendation is make sure all foliage, all dry stuff is at least 30 feet away. That number might be wrong, but that's what I was told, and so I had a landscape guy come out, and we cleared everything from 30 feet to make sure that there was no fire load right on top of the house. No, 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 no. All the way in the back. So the sewer is, their own private entity, Village Wastewater, and you can go and talk to them specifically. They have maps out of the locations, correct?
Yeah, Village Wastewater is a nonprofit that runs the sewer, and they have run lines in certain places. So if you're where a line is, and the city made an ordinance a number of years ago that said if there's a line there and you sell your house, you have to hook up the sewer. Yeah, and but it's a lot easier to do when there's a transaction. Any other place I ever lived, when they run the sewer line, you hook up and you have no choice. And there's ways to finance it and whatnot. So the city was trying to be extra nice to people and say you don't have to hook up until you sell. But most places there is no line. If there is a line, you could get on sewer voluntarily. I personally think that would be a very smart thing to do. I've lived at times in my life on both, and it's way better being on sewer. When I moved here, I bought a new house, and it was on sewer. So I'm sure I paid that $10,000, but it's invisible in the transaction, so to speak, So, it's just better to be on sewer, and if the line's there, you really ought to hook up to it, even if it costs you some money. That's my opinion. Yes, sir. Yeah, I'm not sure how that works, to be honest, but.
So yes, when you switch over to sewer from septic, you leave your lines there, and a lot of times they pump the tank, unless it's a very older metal tank, then they'll pump it and collapse it there. So yeah. I would make sure and ask that, whoever puts in the sewer. But normally that's the process.
Speaking of that, there is some information on the table here about septic, how to handle your septic properly, because we found a lot of people move here and have never been on septic. And so there's a handout about how to handle your septic correctly, and also another handout about landscaping, some landscaping, that smart way to do that. So.
Any additional questions? Yes.
So I'm a licensed realtor, and I'm working with, this might be a question for the ACC, but I'm working with a builder who's wanting to build in the area here. But we're hearing that it's very difficult or lengthy process to get a permit to build here. I guess my question is, do you guys plan on making that like an easier process, and how long, what's like the time frame for getting a permit to build?
So yes, because Bella Vista is different, you have your city who does your building permit as far as checking for code and everything, and then you also have an ACC permit for a new home, to where we look at the aesthetics, the materials, the colors, the location, things like that. Because of that, it does get confusing that you have to go to multiple different departments. So yes, but that's one of those things, that come talk to us. We'll walk you through the process. Time frame wise, what you have to deal with, getting the information to provide to us for your permit, that also takes time because the majority of the properties are on septic. You have to get your survey, your house, and your septic designed. Then it goes to the health department first, which can be a 6-week process, sometimes longer. Getting your survey and stuff, the prep work can be 2 to 6 weeks, depending on how far behind they are. And then, yes, the process for both of us, once we get everything, our goal is a week, maybe 2 weeks. You have a couple of steps with the city. They were 12 weeks out, but they have really kicked in, and I think now they're about 2 weeks as well. So total, yeah, you're probably looking at about 6 months of prep and turning in and getting approval for just a normal one lot, one house kind of thing. If you start getting into multiple lots, then you start adding more work, more time. So, but yes, please come by the office. We'll help you with that.
Yeah, there is one apartment complex that is on Forest Hills Boulevard. If you go down to take Lancashire, hang a left on Forest Hills, and it's fairly short distance on the left. I was told it's technically the first apartment ever in Bella Vista. It has 40 units, and 11 of them are what would you call it? There's help with the rental. It's reduced rental. I think it's not technically Section 8, but it is a reduced rental situation. It was done by CDC Corporation, and to be honest, it sailed through quite easily through Planning Commission and Council. I got a little bit of pushback later on about it, to be honest, from a few people. And a lot of people were actually relatively supportive of it. But, me personally, I'm not a fan of having tons of apartments the way Rogers in Bentonville has done. I think it affects a lot of things. What some people think you have more control than you do. I like to say I was elected mayor of Bella Vista, not president of the world. If you have a piece of property zoned a certain way, anyone who comes in and meets the requirements can build there. You can't say, oh, no, we don't like you. Sorry, you can't come. That's not how it works. But, I think it's funny. People were upset about the 11 units, and there's other units in Bella Vista very near there that people weren't even aware existed. That some of the people in them are perfectly nice people. A lot of times they're older and infirm, and it hasn't really been a problem, frankly. I think if you just had bazillions of them all over the place, maybe it would be. But I think we're in a good situation as far as our housing. I think the question was about fiber, correct? Yeah. Yeah. When I was elected mayor, I said, well, I'm going to work on broadband. And the younger the person was and more knowledgeable they were, the more they said, good luck with that, bud. But there is a lot of federal money that's been committed to broadband, and it flows through the state and then to the rest of us. And when they first came out with it, they were prejudiced for rural areas. And they said, you're not a rural area. So I thought, there's all these source of funds, and the representatives on the federal and state level are very quick to brag about them. And they usually don't mention how hard it is to actually get them. But the federal government said everybody in the country would have fiber optic by 2028. And I said, I don't think so. I mean, there's places where people have a cabin 5 miles from everybody else. You're going to run fiber optic? They seriously have said that. But we are at a point here, I've talked to the state folks recently, and it does appear that we're going to have it everywhere in maybe the next 2-3 years, everywhere in Bella Vista at least. They're making great strides, and as you know, right now, the two people we have, or you may know, is ATT and Cox. And I believe we may have Ozarks Go, which is connected with one of the electric companies. They're creeping up this way, up Bentonville, and they've been, we had a county commission that they wanted every county to set up a commission, and I got on the Benton County one, because I want to know what was going on. And then we merged with the Washington County one. They have one big one. And Washington County had way more coverage than Benton County did, and it was all because of Ozarks Go. They have done fantastic amounts there. And anyway, we've all been fighting to get our share of the money, and it does appear that they actually are going to do it. And there's some folks at the state working very hard, and they think they're going to actually have the whole state covered in next 2-3 years. So I've been encouraged by the things I've heard lately.
I'm going to have to cut off some of these really simple questions. What I'd like to do is to, number one, make sure everybody got a ticket. Did everyone get a ticket for the raffle? Pink and blue? Okay, we'll do that in a second. I'm going to give you just a really brief history about Bella Vista, because I want everyone to understand how unusual we really are. And Bella Vista began in 1915. There was a family, the Baker family, came up from Bentonville. They wanted to start a summer resort, so they flooded Little Sugar Creek and made Lake Bella Vista. And after 2 years, they realized as a summer resort they were going to sell land. It was too much work. So they sold to 3 gentlemen called the Lineberger brothers. And the Lineberger brothers, who came up from Texas, said, we're going to keep it at a summer resort, but we're really going to expand the amenities. So they started selling some land and basically building cottages. You'll see some of the cottages around. But they also built the Sunset Hotel in 1929. They opened the Wonderland Cave, which is now closed, but they opened that up for big band music. It wasn't Tommy Dorsey, but it was big band music. They also had a 9-hole golf course, which was multi-purpose because it was also the landing strip for the airport. I mean, there were no airports, so that's what they had. They basically, the Lineberger brothers sold Bella Vista and the name Bella Vista and the amenities that they had developed they sold them to a gentleman named E.L. Keith. E.L. Keith expanded some of the amenities, but kept it at a 3-month resort. And in 1963-64, John Cooper Sr. started buying a lot of land in the Bella Vista area and going up to the Missouri border. And John Cooper Sr., basically the Cooper communities opened in 1965, opened Bella Vista Village. And Bella Vista Village was from a 3-month resort expanded to a 12-month resort. And they really were doing it for retirees. I've been here 20 years, and 20 years ago, it was 90% retirees. Now it's about 31%. So it shows you how things have changed. In 2006, the city, or the village, voted to become a city. So in 2007, Bella Vista Village became the city of Bella Vista. John is our 3rd mayor, and basically we are now onto a new expansion where we've got the Blue Crane Group and we've got all of you people moving in because we're expanding, and it's exciting. It's an exciting time. Bella Vista also has, and I want to make sure you are aware, we do have a village newspaper called The Vista, and it comes out once a week, but it's a very helpful newspaper that kind of fills you in on all the information. Also, the POA website, and I know many of you are on it, but I cannot tell you enough to get onto their POA website. They have the e-blast that comes out on Fridays, and it really tells you about all the events and the things that are going on. So I have to stress that it really is helpful if you get on that, and the city. Lastly, I want to mention the community TV, the Bella Vista Community TV, and it's a wonderful resource for looking at all the meetings. So if you can't get to the city council meeting, they'll have it filmed, and it really is very, very helpful to be on that. Now, I'm going to lastly, I want to remind everybody, all of the nonprofits and the different groups are still over here, and they will be here after the meeting. And we're going to also now draw some tickets. And I'm going to draw 6 tickets, and we have, you got some booklets? Okay. Okay, number 569, it's a blue ticket, 289569. You got it? Okay. Now, equal opportunity, I'm going to go pink ticket. 384361. 384361. And right here? Okay, good. Okay. 2 blue ticket, 289566. Right there, okay. Pink ticket, 384342. Right there. Oh, okay. I guess you got to be sitting in the front room to get your. What do we have? You have 1? We got 2 left. Okay. Blue ticket, 289613. 289613. Right there. Okay. And lastly, the pink ticket is 384338. 338, way in the back. Now, if anybody wants to stick around for lunch, what the restaurant does open at 11, and if you want to just meet over there, there'll be several people sticking around for lunch. If you'd like to join us, that would be great. Lastly, I would like to mention we do have the Bella Vista Museum. It's on Highway 71. We have some representatives here. It's really important that you all understand what a neat city we have. And there's a tremendous amount of information at the museum that we would love to invite all of you. After the meeting, John will be here, Tom will be here, Sydney will be here. So please come around, commingle, and thank you so much for coming. Thank you.